Well, hey everyone, this is Chris here at Hurtastic Reviews. You're probably wondering where the hell I've been. Well, I'm an essential worker, so I have to work my tail off to make sure people get paid. And I've been watching a buttload of cinema. And one more excuse I'll throw your way is that with this last episode of the miniseries, if you remember and recall, we did our first episode on Arrow films, and then I did a Kino collab with Daniel from COBWEBS, where we talk about what we picked up during that winter sale. And now we're going to wrap up this mini-series haul series, I guess, with the Shout and Scream Factory sale that recently happened. And I'm going to bring in my expert, Daniel, again, from COBWEBS. I'm going to bring him in now. Hopefully this format looks cool for you all. If you don't like it, then please comment down below and just trash me. I really welcome it. Anyway, Daniel, why don't you say hi?
Hi everyone, I'm Daniel from COBWEBS, a Gothic Cinema Podcast. It's a podcast where we really dive into old horror movies and classic spooky Gothic stuff, and it's a lot of fun. We recently did an episode on Freaks and Vampire Circus with Adam Risky from F This Movie, and our most recent episode that you can check out, it'll be up by the time this is out, is on Warner Archive Blu-rays with Chris and Nathan Jones, so you should check those out.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun doing that Warner Archive podcast. We were heavily drinking and talking a lot about movies, so I definitely recommend that. During the recording of this podcast, it's Alien Day, so I'm going to just shout out this t-shirt I'm wearing of my cat Jonesy, who used to be a former actress in the hit 1979 film Alien. And Daniel, who are you wearing today?
Oh, I got John Carpenter's The Thing, the ultimate in alien terror, it says right here. Happy Alien Day.
That's right. So hopefully down below, if you want to comment how to celebrate Alien Day, I'm very anxious to hear how that goes. But enough about that. I want to talk about some Shout and Scream Factory releases. It took a decent amount of time to get these here. These were bought back in February for me. Or probably March. And then Daniel, I know you have some too. So we're just going to go around and just kind of share what we picked up and what some of these movies kind of mean to us and why did we get them. Now, Daniel, you're a guest on the show. I want to know what you picked up. You kept it under sealed lips, I believe, because I can't remember what you picked up.
Not super sealed. Mine is a slightly sad story. There was a recent Scream Factory sale, very good sale. I did jump in on that. The shipments are delayed, and I haven't gotten a lot of stuff in the mail that I should have been gotten lately. But, that's okay, because there's crazy things going on in the world. This is a very small problem to have. So I just grabbed a few Scream Factory Blu-rays that I've gotten in the last few months. And the first one is April Fool's Day. So April Fool's Day is a 1986 slasher movie, if you're going to classify it as in a horror subgenre. It's going to be slasher, but those of you who have seen it know that that's a little bit, the title is April Fool's Day, and that sort of tells you that the movie's not quite what you expect, and it's not. But the best thing about this movie is the cast. It's got Deborah Foreman from Valley Girl and My Chauffeur. I really like her a lot. It's got Amy Steele from Friday the 13th Part 2, and it's got Biff from Back to the Future. I feel so bad. Yeah, I can't remember his name at the moment. But a lot of other good, talented young people. I blind bought this. I picked it up partly because of the cover. The cover is amazing. This new Scream Factory cover, it looks awesome. You got the original artwork right here. It's got a few special features, nothing too spectacular. But also Heather Wixon at Daily Dead and the Corpse Club podcast, who I'm a fan of. It's a big fan of this movie, so I picked it up. And I liked it. It's super watchable. Like I said, the cast is good, and it's got some spooky scenes. But it's a movie that if you're in the mood for a slasher, it's not going to quite scratch that itch for you. You got to be in the mood for something a little funnier or something a little quirkier. But if you're in the mood for that, it's pretty good. It's a fun time.
Okay. When you lifted up that slipcover, oh man, I almost lost it right there. Oh, jeez.
Looks great, doesn't it?
It does. That's
really
a recent release too, isn't it?
Yeah, it's one of their newest. Yeah.
Oh man. And I'm also saying, like, the physical manner of lifting the slipcover over the case.
You like that?
Yeah.
You like that?
Oh, God. Anyways, I'm sure there's probably younger audiences watching who will understand the emotions I'm dealing with right now. But that is a really sweet pickup, dude. I didn't know you got that. I thought that was a joke. Funny that it's called.
And I actually got it. Amazon recently. Target did it too, and then Amazon jumped in on it too. A three, get one free. So you get 3 Blu-rays for the price of 2. This was one of those. The rest of them, again, haven't come in the mail yet, but at least I got that one.
Right. Well, that's quite a cast. When you said Friday the 13th Part 2, I'm like, oh, I love that movie so much.
Oh, me too.
But then when you said Biff, I started getting chills because, I mean, he's up there. He's probably one of the most ruthless villains in cinema. He's just a monster.
Yeah, he's not a great guy in this, but he's not like a bully. He's not terrible.
Oh, good. I mean, he still sucks, but, I guess that's good acting. Yeah. All right, well, Daniel, that's really sweet. I'm going to talk about one that I recently picked up, and I watched on the eve of my birthday, which was April 10th, so YouTube didn't wish me happy birthday. Shame on you. But I saw this really sweet film. It was a blind buy, but I knew when I saw the cast, I had to see it. Stars Sylvester Stallone. It has Rutger Hauer. That is the let me get the year it was released. 1981 film Nighthawks.
We're not that different, Deke. I do not enjoy killing, but it's my job. Someone has to do it. I represent oppressed victims who have nothing. I speak only for them. I'm their voice. I'm a liberator.
You think you're a liberator?
It fascinates you. It does. The child.
Man, Nighthawks is pretty fun. It's basically it has Billy D. Williams and Sylvester Stallone as NYC police, and Rutger Hauer is this terrorist on a mission to send a message to people about the ugliness of the world, basically. And he changes his appearance throughout the movie, which is really cool. And he's really, really ruthless. He's just killing people. The way he's seducing women into getting his way is very interesting for his character. In Stallone, he just looks ridiculous in this. He has a full-length beard. But basically, they kind of come down to a showdown, which I think is going to be very memorable for me for years to come when I think about action movies and endings, because it's just bonkers. And the way it ends is great, too. Also, Billy D. Williams goes out there as one of the best boys in a crime cop movie, because he's just always supportive to Stallone, and I love it. I don't know, Danny, you saw this. Didn't you see this?
Yeah, it's streaming right now on Netflix Instant, so, I don't know when your viewers are watching this video, but as of now, you can check it on Netflix. It's pretty good. For a while, it made me feel like this is an 80s action movie that's still somewhat stuck in the 70s, so it sort of has that grittier 70s sensibility. I don't think it's super interesting. It doesn't flow really well. There are a lot of scenes of Stallone and Billy D. Williams kind of being bored in class and this anti-terrorism class. It's a little boring for the audience too, but Rutger Hauer's intense. Stallone's got this thing where he's trying to get back with his ex-wife, and that's okay, but it never really goes anywhere. But it's got some decent action, some good helicopter stunts. So yeah, I liked it enough. It was pretty good.
The message is, you can't really get back with your ex-wife when you're New York City police. The crime underbelly just won't allow it.
It seemed like they were going to get back together, but then it never went anywhere. Spoilers.
Right. Yeah, well, I definitely think people should check this, especially if it's streaming. If you like it enough, just buy it. It wasn't that expensive. It was during a Shout sale not too long ago, but really get it for the disc, because it's Rutger Hauer just looking beautiful here with those gold locks. So that's what I picked up. Yeah, Daniel, what else did you get?
Oh gosh, okay, so I'm wondering, you viewers, have you ever had a movie that's been on your to-watch list for your entire life, and you just never watch it? This is one of those movies for me, except now I own it, and now I have watched it. It's a little movie called This Island Earth.
While captive Earth people fight for their lives.
It is indeed typical that you Earth people refuse to believe in the superiority of any world but your own.
Okay, This Island Earth is a 1950s sci-fi alien monster movie, and I've always wanted to see it because, I'm a big fan of the Universal Monsters movies, Boris Karloff, Bela Lugosi, all that stuff. If there's one alien movie that's kind of sometimes included in that run, it's This Island Earth. Last October, I was at Universal Studios in Orlando, and they have a Universal Monsters cafe, and it's decorated with so much memorabilia from Frankenstein, Dracula, the Wolfman. And they had a whole section for This Island Earth, which, motivated me even more. I got to see this. This movie's especially notable because the aliens just look awesome in this. There are these alien bug-like monsters, Like, give those a Google. They're really, really cool. Much to my, slight disappointment, they're not in the movie very much. For the most part, it's a movie about this really smart scientist dude who gets recruited to do this really smart scientist project. And he flies out there and he joins up with the scientists and starts to discover, things aren't quite what they seem. Maybe we're working for aliens. It's pretty cool. The third act is where they spend all their money, and there's so many special effects, and it looks really, really good for the 50s because they go into space and they go to this other planet, and there are those alien monsters. And it's not bad. It's not great. Those 50s sci-fi movies rarely are, in my humble opinion. Like, there's Invasion of the Body Snatchers, which is amazing, but most of them are just like, pretty good. And that's what this is. But it does have great effects in beautiful color, and those bug alien monsters look really, really good. So, This Island Earth.
Wow, I never heard of that. I'm gonna have to check out your letterbox and see what you rated that. But
I rated it 3 out of 5, which is fair.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
It's a good rating.
That's right. People forget. No, that sounds sweet. I didn't realize that they had a section of that when you went. Also, shout out to Daniel. He got me a glass when he went to that trip. It was a Killer Clowns from Outer Space little glass, which I sip alcohol from. So thank you for that. But that's really cool. I didn't realize that had a section. That's cool.
It's an amazing cafe, and I don't think it's just there for like the Halloween season, because that's when I went. Because like it's definitely set in stone, that restaurant, and the food's okay. The service was pretty bad at the time. We kind of had to fight tooth and nail just to get the food that we paid for, but the decor, amazing.
Yeah. There's this thing now where every time I see Daniel, he'll take me to someplace cool and he'll point out movie memorabilia, and we get drinks to celebrate that. Last time we went to this karaoke bar, and there was a bunch of old movies, and it was super sweet.
I love that bar. Yeah.
It was cool. That's a great pickup. At least you saw that. This one I'm going to talk about I haven't seen before, but I have seen a movie with him. Well, 2 movies with him. It's a Robert Meacham double pack that Shout Select put out. It has Farewell My Lovely and The Big Sleep. I haven't seen either of these movies. I picked it up because I really wanted to see Out of the Past. I'm in love with Robert Meacham when I saw him in Night of the Hunter. So once I got Out of the Past, I was really anxious. Movie's pretty solid. I don't have too many problems with it, but I really want to watch these two now because he's a little bit older, I believe, in these. Because one of them is from 1978, and then the other one doesn't have a 1975. So there you go. So I need to check these out and kind of compare them to. I know the Big Sleep, isn't that a Humphrey Bogart, Lauren Bacall film as well?
It is, yeah. So
I think this one's a remake of it. So I don't know.
Technically, they're both based on a book, so they're just both adaptations.
Right. So I kind of want to. I have the Big Sleep now. I picked it up during the Warner Archive sale. So I kind of want to compare the two. Eventually, at some point, it's somewhere here in my huge pile of movies. There they all go. So I ran out of room. If you want to donate down below for more shelf space for me, I promise I'll keep buying more movies for you guys to see. So,
what are you giving away on your Patreon tier where they buy you shelves? What are you giving?
Well, there goes Totoro. Let's figure it out. If you donate to me, you will get this movie. You'll get The Lobster on Blu-ray. There you go.
That does not sound worth it.
Nah, I do like this movie. You know what? Because I wouldn't give that movie up so easily, we'll pick one more. I'll even pick it from the boutique label shelf.
Ooh.
It has a slipcover. Nope, it's a steelbook. Wow, Pokemon the movie triple pack. Some people might want this. Comment down below if you're willing to buy me a shelf. I'll give this to you.
I really love the Howard Hawks, The Big Sleep with Bogart and Bacall, and that's cool that you picked it up because I think you'll really enjoy it. It's a movie that the plot is a mess, and the actors famously said during the filming that we have no idea what's going on in this movie. We're filming the scenes, we don't know what's happening. So it's really hard to follow, but the dialogue and the acting is so much fun. So I really, really like it. I like Philip Marlowe movies, like The Long Goodbye, The Big Sleep. So that's cool. There's a Robert Mitchum one. I haven't seen that one, so I'm interested to see what that's like.
Yeah, it's funny. It's called The Big Sleep because that's usually what I call Nathan Jones's videos on YouTube.
Dude! I'm
right,
not part of that, Nathan. I do not agree.
Love the boy. What else did you get, Daniel?
Okay, so when I didn't get those shipments that I was expecting today, I thought I was only going to have 3 movies to talk about, but I realized that I picked this movie up about a month and a half ago. So why not talk about it? It's My Bloody Valentine. Yeah, we should be talking about it in February, but I'm going to be talking about it now. Look, My Bloody Valentine. It's a slasher movie from 1981. Every horror fan worth their salt should know that 1981 is the greatest year for slashers. And it's just an incredible movie. Like, it's incredible. It's so much better than like almost any slasher movie should be. The characters, they're great. They're interesting. I watched this movie with my wife Stephanie, and she really, really liked it. And there was a character in it, the main guy. Yep. She liked so much, and she said, if he dies, I am never watching another movie with you again. I'm not going to reveal whether he died or not. You'll just have to see for yourself. But that's how invested she was. It's a really good movie, and like we watched the uncut version, and that's Scream Factory. They just work wonders. The next pick I'm gonna be talking about, they worked wonders with again. But this movie got chopped up when it got theatrically released. They took a lot of the gore out. They were able to restore that gore scenes, and they were able to clean it up, and it looks incredible the whole way through. So it's one of the goriest slashers I've ever seen, but also the character work and the story is fantastic as well. It's great because it's a blue-collar slasher movie. It's not about a bunch of privileged college students partying. It's like blue-collar worker guys and their girlfriends, and they just feel like real people that you genuinely like and don't want to die. But, of course, a lot of them do have to die. It's awesome. And if you haven't seen My Bloody Valentine, my God, watch it. It's awesome. Oh, and real quick. Oh. You like that? Look at that original cover art right there.
Dude, we're nice. Twins. We're twins.
By the way, I do need to point out that this also includes the theatrical edition. I hate it when like director's cuts or new editions come out and they don't include the theatrical. I'm looking at you, George Lucas. But this does include both versions, so you can check out either one you want.
Yeah, My Bloody Valentine's a revelation, and that last scene sticks with you. I think people need to see this movie, especially for that. Just for its time, it's crazy. I'm so glad you talked about it. I had the I forget which edition. I think it might have been Lionsgate that owned the rights to it on Blu-ray. That was out of print. I owned that. Once Daniel got his, and I saw how it looked, I was like, damn it, I can't miss the train on this. So I went and picked up my own copy of the Scream Factory. We really don't deserve them. They do wonders. You're right.
They do. I love them so much. They are my favorite, the boutique labels. I'm not sure how much I can defend that because I know Criterion and Arrow are amazing, but my heart does belong to Scream Factory. I have the most Blu-rays of them of any of the labels, and I love them. They're great.
Can't complain. I do like the chubby boy in My Bloody Valentine. He's so cute.
Yes. I tweeted while I was watching the movie that him and his girlfriend, they're one of the cutest couples in all of horror. I love them so much.
Yeah. He's such a good boy.
And he's got such a mustache.
Yeah. My Bloody Valentine's so good. Guys, if you're listening, if you haven't seen it, definitely check that movie out. You have to be definitely 17 or older to see it, I think, though. It is something crazy. We don't
back off, kiddies.
Well, actually, if you're under the age of 17, you should be watching rated R movies. It builds character. You heard it first. I'm gonna go a little more romantic and go to the 90s with this next pickup I made. It stars Gwyneth Paltrow, and it's called Sliding Doors. It was released in 1998. Directed by Peter Howitt. I don't know any of his works. If you do, let me know. But I saw this movie when I was in high school. I think I was a senior. I took it a film appreciation class, and this was one of the movies we watched, and I had to write a paper on it, and I still actually have that paper. So if you want to see that paper down below, email the show at hurtastic.reviews@gmail.com, and I'll send you a copy of it to read, and you can critique all you want. Or criticize, actually. Don't critique it, criticize it. I'm actually taking off the ceiling wrap now because I'm in a mood. So this movie is about...
Good time taking the wrapping off.
Gwyneth Paltrow, she's in London, and she's a publicist, and eventually one part of her, it's a parallel story of what happens to her after one critical moment in her life, and then simultaneously through that story, it shows what happens to Gwyneth Paltrow if she made a different choice during that critical moment in her life. So you're simultaneously get two different stories of the what if, and you have to decide which is the right story. And it shows in this beautiful work of art. She's blonde and she's brunette, because in one story parallel, she ends up turning her hair blonde. In the other story, she stays as a blonde. And it's basically showing Should she trust this guy that she's been seeing, or does she leave him, and where does that lead in her life? I think it's a really interesting story. I think it's done really well. I think it's a really tough thing to grapple, two different stories about the same character in a what-if moment. But I think there's a lot that people in relationships, I think, could relate to a lot. And it's a really sweet movie, too. It has, what's his name? John Hannah. If you've seen him in stuff before. He was in The Mummy. He was the brother of the female lead.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's in this. He's a really charming guy.
Cool.
So I definitely recommend you check this movie out. Gwyneth Paltrow is awesome. And this was a recent release from the Shout Select.
Nice. I love Shout Select. I don't have as many of their releases as I would like, but they're great. They're just terrific.
Yep. So check this movie out.
Very cool. So I'm going to be moving on. Chris, did you know that I like gothic horror? Did you know that?
I think I've heard of that somewhere.
I do, and I got a gothic horror release here. It's from the 70s. Get excited, Chris. This is a 1979 picture. It's not Alien, but it's a different 1979 picture.
Don't tell me.
It's Dracula. I told you. I'm sorry. I jumped the gun there.
I was going to say Driller Killer from 1979 with Abel Ferrara.
Nah. It's Dracula. And I know there are a lot of movies that are called Dracula. This is another one. It's directed by John Badham, who I'm a fan of because he directed Saturday Night Fever, which sometimes I think is my favorite drama. I'm not quite sure. And this is starring Frank Langella as Dracula, Laurence Olivier as Van Helsing. Ooh. And it's notable because it's like, of all the Draculas, this is the sexy Dracula. Because the whole way, Frank Langella is just as charming and beautiful as can be. They're definitely not trying to make him a monster, even to the extent that you never even see him with fangs. You do see him do some cool vampire stuff, like flying like a bat and crawling up walls. But he never looks like a monster. He always looks handsome the whole way through. I watched this, and I just loved it so much. And it just kind of, I just felt inspired to write about it, which I don't always. So I did write a piece on it. You can check it out at COBWEBSPodcast.com. And I wrote about the fact that Dracula is more likable in this movie than anyone else. And how does the director do that? What does that mean? Is it earned? You could check out my piece. But it's very much a gothic romance. It's not just a horror movie, because you do like Dracula and his connection with Lucy. It feels like more than just predator and prey, I want your blood. So it's interesting, but all that aside, it's a beautiful looking movie. The practical sets are incredible. All the performances are great. And this is another one where Scream Factory worked wonders, because the director, John Badham, he kind of George Lucas this movie, apparently. The theatrical version of this movie is this brightly colored movie that kind of looks like a Hammer film. It's very bright. And the director, when it came out home video, he desaturated the color to make it a much darker, grayer looking movie, because he wanted it to be in black and white, and the studio wouldn't let him do it. So he at least desaturated the color down. And for a long time, since 1991, it's the only way you could watch it at home. But Scream Factory has now got both versions, so you can check them both out. I watched the original theatrical with the bright colors. It's a gorgeous looking movie. Maybe I'll check the desaturated version later, but I like Dracula a lot. I love the character, and this is a good version. And also, this is a case where I like the original artwork better than the new artwork. That looks good. It's a little bit spooky because you got the fog, you got Dracula, but it's a little bit sexy because you got this lovely lady here. So it's a very cool cover.
That's gangbusters right there. Holy crap! Frank Langella, he was Nixon in Frost Nixon.
Yes, he was, and he was Archer in Small Soldiers.
That's right. Shout out Joe Dante and Archer. Well, Daniel, with that last pick, that's sweet. 79 is an amazing year. Kramer vs. Kramer won Best Picture. But Daniel, my last question is this. Do you think a boy and a girl, do you think they can be friends without sleeping with each other?
Oh, jeez. I don't know, Chris. What do you think?
No, you can't, because one wants to sleep with the other. Obviously, if you know where that quote is, it's from When Harry Met Sally, starring Billy Crystal and the amazing Meg Ryan. I got this on Shout Select. I could have opted to get the cheaper version, but damn it, I love this movie to freaking death. I'm not going to talk about it too much, because who hasn't seen When Harry Met Sally? It's probably my favorite Meg Ryan performance. And Billy Crystal, I first didn't like him in this movie, but when I rewatched it a second time, and then eventually a third and fourth time, I love him so much. I am such a stand for Billy Crystal. I want to watch Running Scared because Billy Crystal, and because it takes place in Chicago.
So good.
Man, this is a beautiful cover, and I can't wait to unwrap it and just watch it again. This movie, this movie is cinema, dude. This is a film right here. It's not a movie. It's a film. You definitely need to check this movie out. It was actually really inexpensive too. So my last shipment was When Harry Met Sally.
Yeah, I love When Harry Met Sally. Like, how can you not? It's fantastic. It's charming. The performances are terrific, and it's got Harry Connick Jr. music all throughout. I love that soundtrack. It's so good.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I think that about wraps it up for what I picked up because I'm broke now, Daniel. But thank you so much for coming on and helping me wrap up this Blu-ray haul miniseries I did during this pandemic we're dealing with right now.
Totally, man. Anytime. Very happy to be here. And I'm out of video. That's it. So just audio now.
Well, Daniel, you left me in visual, but you're here in audio. I appreciate that. But Daniel, where can people find you?
You can look us up at COBWEBSPODCAST.com. You can find the show on iTunes, Spotify, anywhere podcasts are sold. Cobwebs Gothic Cinema Podcast. And by the way, I said the word sold, but it's free. Don't worry. And check me out on Twitter, EpplerDaniel. Don't
worry, everyone. Daniel will be back on another video or podcast. I'll put that link down below for his outlets. Thank you all for watching. I want to know what you guys have been picking up on this kind of hiatus we have in going outside and staying in and watching really sweet movies. So comment down below what you've been seeing, what you've been picking up. Anyway, thanks for stopping by. My name's Chris here at the Hurtastic Reviews. And remember, if you're not buying boutique label Blu-rays, I'm convinced you don't like cinema. We'll see you next time.